welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Spunky, and this is Bant Beans. Spunky is a control diehard, perhaps even deeper than I am, and just can't quit Leyline Binding plus up the Beanstalk as a package in the deck. And he came to me with this deck that you may have seen in the recent 5-0 deck dumps because he had defeated 5 opponents in a row with it, and now it's in my hands. This is a classic control deck. All you do is answer the things that might kill you until something sticks and slowly turns it around. Your win conditions in this deck: Uro is a win con that's also a draw card. Solitude is a win con that's also a Swords to Plowshares. Fourth Lingus is a fireball that can also be cast smaller to be a draw engine. Murktide Regent's really the only brawler in this deck that doesn't have another function besides attacking. And packed within the deck, all the cards we love. 4 copies of Up the Beanstalk, draw a card when you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater. There's a bunch of those in here, and as usual, we don't plan to cast them for 5 mana. 2-drop, 1-drop, 0-drop, 0-drop. Lately on the channel, I've been talking about how fair decks really want access to Thoughtseize and main deck Graveyard Hate to tangle with the busted graveyard metagame that we're in right now. This has neither. You could main deck some number of Endurance, but Spunky has not done that. This deck does rely entirely on counterspells and removal spells to get the job done, at least in game 1. Which puts this deck at sort of a gamble position where if you don't think you're going to play against Reanimator or Oops All spells, this deck is great, because this is exactly what you want to be doing against the rest of the metagame. If you do pair into Oops All spells, I hope these 5 forces get the job done, because there's no backup plan coming for you. But the interesting thing about Reanimator is this deck has so much card draw and so much removal that it could conceivably beat an Atraxa or Archon of Cruelty. And because the removal is exile-based, the Plows, the Solitudes, and the Leyline Bindings all remove them from the game. They're not there to reanimate again. So if your opponent gets an Atraxa into play, you plow it with the trigger on the stack, then they refill their hand with 5 cards, but they don't have the 7/7. We can beat that on raw card advantage. And that's what this deck's leaning into. I've played various flavors of Beans countless times on this channel since this card came out. The core of this deck should be no surprise, but the colors of it are a little surprising in the current metagame. I'm excited to try it though. This Magic is some of my favorite to play. Let's get in. This is Bant Beans from Spunky. I'm on the play in round 1. Hand is a little weak to Wasteland, but I am going to keep it. I have turn 2 Beanstalk on the play with Force of Will to start triggering it. I just wish this Mystic Sanctuary was literally anything else. Any other blue land. A fetch land would be ideal, but I'm not going to mulligan a hand like this. Unmask, targeting me. Okay. Exiling Boggart Trawler. So this smells to me like an Oops All spells with a creature juke. And remember when I said this is the matchup in the metagame that we're just not well conceived to beat? Yep, we'll take a look at the list and then concede. Okay, so when you see Unmask and not Pact of Negation as their interaction spell of choice, that means that they can support a creature juke. Other than that, this is just all the normal shit you'd expect. Okay. Outsmarted by someone with deeper rules knowledge and format knowledge than myself. Now we go to the sideboard where my format knowledge improves dramatically. I like that Endurance can brawl with various creatures. You obviously need all of this stuff, even if they do juke. Teferi doesn't matter much. I think Leyline Binding can chill. Solitude I like. Supreme Verdict's bad, but it is blue. Teferi are bad but blue, and Teferi and Supreme Verdict. Bad but blue is how I categorize those things. A Plow can come out to get me an Endurance. And here's the secret to why the juke is so frustrating. Is even if we've identified that they're capable of it, it doesn't mean they've done it. Even if these deck lists were face up, which they damn near are at this point, Even if I could see my opponent's entire 75 in front of me, I don't know if they're going to be on the creature plan or not. Solitude is still one of my win cons and still triggers Beanstalk. And maybe it's 4th Aerlingus. That is not good against the creature plan or the not creature plan. Are there cards in my deck that are worse than Leyline Binding? Leyline Binding could clip something like a Belcher if they have to do a pass turn with Belcher. I could cut my basic planes because they're not going to attack my mana. So if I cut that instead, I get one of these bindings back. How do I get another one? Uro is blue for force and green for endurance, and it's something that can stack up versus a creature juke. I could just bet against Swords to Plowshares and bet on Leyline Binding as a more well-rounded thing that might answer more problems. I guess I'll do that. All right, here we go. I'll keep this hand. 3 forces is a good number of those. There is a Hedge Maze as far as surveillance go in the deck. I think I'm going to fetch Tundra and cast Ponder. I can't play all 3 of the forces anyway because there's only 2 extra blue cards. Land, Beanstalk. I like all of those. Don't shuffle. Hope I get a turn. If I get unmasked, I think I will counter it pitching Stock Up. Though, maybe not, because I can force a Will a creature too. If I get Cabal Therapied, I'll force some negation and pitching Stock Up, that's for sure. Unmask, targeting me. Alright. I've decided I'm not interacting with this. They could strip the plow and cast a creature, but I have a grip full of Force of Wills. Look at that, Dothy Voidwalker. That card was not in the main deck when we took a look. There's a good chance the plow does get stripped here. It would be really interesting if they go after Stock Up instead, if they try to really grind this game out. Force some negation gone. Oh, they have the Cabal Therapy follow-up. Yeah, I mean, that was the best thing they could ever do. And I lose this either way, so I'm going to force pitching Stock Up, because I get a shuffle and a redraw here. I draw Beanstalk, shuffle away the Misty Rainforest on top of the deck, play Beanstalk. If I hit a blue card, we're back in business. Right, Tropical Island, up the Beanstalk. Blue card off the top. Hell yeah. Okay. They've seen the plow, so playing a creature basically doesn't matter. Okay. Oh, right. They can Cabal Therapy me with the Orc Army. No, that's actually really good. All right. I blew it. They probably named Plow off this Cabal Therapy. Yep. Uro can outmuscle Orcish Bowmaster, but not if anything else is going on. Ha! Ha! You idiot! You stupid idiot! Got you. All right. Wow, I blacked out for a second. Did I say anything I shouldn't have to my honorable opponent playing fair, normal Magic? How's that for deep format knowledge, you clown? Okay, I'm going to pass. I'm not going to Uro here because I could just die if I don't have this Force of Will available. All right. Well, that is annoying. Whatever. All right, I'll counter it. I get the replacement. And now I die to Balustrade Spy. Or the 3rd Bowmaster. Yeah, that's cool. Imagine choosing a deck with no manipulation of any kind and just having 3 copies of your best card after having Unmask into Cabal Therapy to specifically break up the hand. All right, who's the idiot now? It's me. Play the 4th Bowmaster. I know you have it. That's the sound of me dying. My life is over. I'm quitting Magic. All right, I mean, I'm going to do this now. And I can't win. GG. That was stupid and terrible. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. I'm going to keep this hand. Got the Uro cruising along. We've got the ability for our fetch lands to turn on Leyline Binding. We can answer a threat early. Again, if the Roopsal spells were dead, but if they're anything else, we're in good shape. This is kind of just deciding at the deck building level that you're not going to beat Oopsal spells. I'm actually not going to fetch here because some of the Gory Steelcutter decks have been playing a couple of Stifles, and I just don't want to get got by that. Oh, Jeskai, huh? What's that doing? Okay. I don't think a Jeskai deck would have Stifle. I'm quitting Magic. It's over. All right. Well, Stifle's not a card that anyone who chooses not to lose to it would ever lose to, but I don't know what this is. They have the Brewer's advantage on me here. There's not really Jeskai decks in the format, so their deck could be anything. All right, I'm not going to fetch, because I'm a coward. I'm a big wuss baby. Doorkeeper Thrall. Okay, so it's a Dreadnought deck. That makes sense. Jeskai, that is a deck that would have Stifle randomly in it. Solitude does not work on Doorkeeper Thrall. Swords to Plowshares does. I will try to clip this thing now. And, alright, fetch. Don't have another Stifle, please. Alright, we got away with it. Hedge Maze. Force of Will. I think I am interested in that. I would rather stock up here than Uro, because I want more looks. I want to hit a land drop. Nice, alright. Polluted Delta and Brainstorm. The good news here, though, is even though I did get Cornball Stifled early, this is still a very good matchup. Dress down. I don't really want to force this. I can answer Dreadnought. I'm worried about Null Drifter. I guess it's fine. Alright, that can resolve. I'll take my chances. They had Doorkeeper Thrall last turn and didn't play a monster. Flage. Oh, that's sweet. Okay. Yeah, I don't care about that one. We found out what the red splash is for. I'm going to fetch my Xander's Lounge here to unlock my Leyline Bindings. Oh, did you draw another Stifle? Okay, is this worth Force of Will to me? I think it is. They might be a Daze deck, which would be kind of frustrating. Okay, so they didn't Stifle me last turn, then they suddenly did. They drew that on between the Dress Down and their draw step. 1000%. All right, Leyline Binding. Delete your idiot. And then Uro. Uro can get some extra juice if I let them have a Doorkeeper Thrall, but I kind of want the card in the life more than I want a 6/6 against a matchup that has 12/12s in it. Beanstalk, number 1. How many of these can I get in this turn? This is a nice one. Beanstalk, land, Beanstalk, Leyline Binding, good for 2 cards, Solitude, good for 2 cards. Yeah, I was about to say I don't know how we can lose this game, and opponent agrees. And I frequently say on this channel that Stifle is not a good card. And that's why. Like, they got me in a way that appeared really good, but then I just drew some lands and won. Okay, Carpet of Flowers definitely coming in. Wrath of Sky is definitely coming in. Pyroblast is... I think it's worth it. We've seen Stifle and Dress Down. Presumably they have cantrips and Force of Will. I think I'm into that. We're in kind of an interesting place here where I don't specifically want this many Uros, but cheesing them with an Uro off their own Doorkeeper Thrall rules. There's even a Beseiju in this list, and I'm ready. Right. Big pile of exile-based removal. Teferi is devastating versus any Dreadnought strategy. Just the card Stifle simply does not work with Teferi in play. It's impossible. I think I want to be super control, and I don't need an I win button. Once I get ahead, I'll stay there in a matchup like this one. This is a matchup where I don't necessarily want a ton of Force of Wills, but I am also a pretty dedicated Beanstalk deck where Force of Will is some of my triggers. Well, I am going to board out 2 forces, even understanding that makes Beanstalk a little worse. I think it's fine. If they Stifle my Lorien Revealed cycle, this hand gets a lot worse, but I'm not going to mull it. I think I'm going to Ponder and play around Stifle. Sweet. Found the land. No problems. Wasteland is fine. Temporarily fine. Now if they have Stifle, I'm in some amount of trouble. I know the top of my deck doesn't help me here, so I have to fetch, and I'll have to force if they have Stifle. Sick. Got away with it. I'm going to get Tundra and cycle for Trop. Just get these lands under me. A deck like this one that needs to turn on Leyline Binding and needs to top deck up the Beanstalk for its maximum draws. You just have to fetch the non-basics. Okay. I could start a fight here, and I think it's worth it. It cost me a force, which I'm going to pitch a ponder off of. Well, let's do this. Let's have this fight. All right, it cost them a force 2. I'm down 3 cards. You're down 3 cards and a land drop. I'll take it. Okay, they played a land that was not the one they just picked up. Wrath of the Skies, Future Banger. Ooh, Brainstorm largely missed. I think I'm going to put back Wrath and Uro and then cast Ponder. That's a shuffle. Up the Beanstalk. Okay, they just watched me miss a land drop. If they find a Wasteland right now, that's frustrating. They know Daze is really good. Yep, good draw. Going after green. So they're more worried about my engine than my removal. Do I want to wait until I have this Beanstalk in play to jam this Murktide? I think I do. I'm the control deck. Making them come to me. Carpet of Flowers, holy smokes. Alright, Brainstorm. Hell yeah. Put back Mystic Sanctuary and Solitude. Or I am going to fetch here, so I don't want to put away things I'm going to miss dramatically. I think I actually want Leyline Binding more than I want Solitude, though. Okay, yeah, I believe that. Fetch. Did we unlock a Stifle? Did you find one? Nope. Cool. Savannah. Carpet. This Carpet will win the game if it resolves. Alright. We're in there. Make a bunch of mana. Green. Beanstalk. And we've broken through the dam. Their posture this game is super controlling. Like, they just haven't presented a threat or really done anything. And I'm a much better control deck than they are. Yes, make blue. Blue, blue. White. Teferi, Time Reveler. Use it or lose it. Whatever you got. Alright. Lose it is the choice. Big Murktide. Another Carpet. LMAO. I'm going to plus Teferi. Their deck's pretty bad against getting stuff bounced. I could play Boseiju other Carpet here, but I don't think I need to. And Boseiju is a good card against their deck. Wasteland, no. Flage. Resolves. This can deal 3 to Teferi, I guess. Alright, he's a 2. If they play Lightning Bolt or something, like Swords to Plowshares, sure. That already drew a card, I won't miss it. Stock up, let's go. Make blue, and there's not actually red cards in my deck, so I'll stock up here. Beanstalk Binding. I could go Beanstalk Uro instead. How does this mana work? I go to my second main, I make 2 blue off the other Carpet, then I don't have enough green to do everything I want to do. Alright, I'll take my time. Uro to the bottom. Different Carpet. I'm just not in a rush here at all. Second Beanstalk, second main, off of the other Carpet. And then these bindings, exile Flage, exile everything, draw cards. Unfortunately, Boseiju counts legendary creatures, not planeswalkers, so I can't Boseiju their Wasteland and play Beanstalk here. Have to settle for just a Beanstalk. If I hit a land here, though, I can still Boseiju their Wasteland. Okay. I guess Besiegeing Wasteland would turn on Flage guaranteed. Probably not worth it. Okay. And without a threat in play, opponent doesn't want to play anymore. This was a pretty good showcase of what I was talking about in the deck tech of this deck, this construction of this archetype. Well, selecting this archetype and then also constructing it in this way is a gamble against what you're going to play against. We saw how hopeless that round 1 against Oopsal spells felt, and then we saw how hilarious this round 2 versus Dreadnought was. None of the 4 games we've played have been close in one direction or another. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3 with this wall of white removal. I'm going to keep it. I keep hands like this even in decks that are built to respect combo, and in one that's not built to respect combo, I'm just going to always behave as if that's not what my opponent's doing in my mulligans. Ooh, Goblin Engineer. All right, we're playing against some Painter with Simian Spirit Guide as the extra juice. This is a great time to have Swords to Plowshares in my hand. We will have to deal with these constructs eventually if my opponent has an Ancient Tomb to go with this. Went for the standard Phyrexian Dragon Engine first Entomb of the game. Plow this before it can do anything. If they are a hybrid Stompy build, like Painter Stompy is a thing, especially the signal we've gotten with the Simian Spirit Guide might indicate it. I can still deal with Magus of the Moon with a Solitude, and I can still deal with this Painter with Solitude. Oh my goodness. Painter Grindstone. Okay. I can also fetch Volcanic Island here for the mini domain, 80% domain, which is enough. Leyline Binding. I'm just going to clip this Painter right now before any questions are asked about it. I could have tried to play chicken with them of wait till they activate the Grindstone, then they've committed extra resources, then I deal with the Painter. But then we get into the spot where what if they just attack with Painter and don't do that? Then do I just leave my mana unspent? Then I have to answer it twice, which I can do, but I'd rather save my answer for two things. They might have something like Haywire Might to break their Painter free here, but I can blow that out with the Solitude. And they have to come up with green mana somewhere. Lava Spur Boots. Spooky. Alright, they've sunk their mana in here. The City of Traders is gone. Fable of the Mirror Breaker resolves. I am going to Solitude this Gobbo. And I'm going to pitch Supreme Verdict to do it, because this is a great spot for a single horse 4th Aerolingus to take the Monarch and then just ride it. A little scary that they can give their creatures haste, but with 1 card in hand and 1 mana, I don't think I'm going to give that a lot of respect. And now I have Force backup as well. I'm going to get Tundra. Or a double green. Is that a bigger... There are fewer green than white sources. Is that a true statement I just made? I've got 1, 2, 3 green. 1, 2, 3, 4... Or no, I'm counting blue, not white. 1, 2... Only 2 white sources. But I don't need double white. I have single white. Yeah, I'm actually going to get Trop to respect Uro a little more. The flavor text on 4th Aerolingus. 1 horse. Take the Monarch. Let's go. This game is still close. I'm ahead, but it's not over. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is a hell of a card. If they wiggle their hand into a spot where they get 1-drop and can give it haste, then I have to force the 1-drop. And then that leaves me resources down when Fable flips next turn. Discarded Lightning Bolt. That means they kept 1 card. Agatha's Soul Cauldron. That's really good versus Uro. I think I'd rather just have Force of Will in my hand, though. Okay. So they can give their Fable haste and +1/+1 next turn, which means I can't attack here unless I find removal, which means I want to Brainstorm. None of that's removal. I'll put back the 2 shitty lands and then fetch. I'm going to play Beanstalk and leave up white mana here. I'll get Tundra. Tundra is... I got to draw off Beanstalk and a draw off Monarch. Ponder. Is that better than draw off Monarch for a white removal spell? It has to be Plow, basically. I can't attack here. Alright, I will take my chances with the Ponder. Solitude is not what I want now, but it's great next turn. Alright, I'm going to take Solitude. Or no, their thing's going to have Ward 1, isn't it? Maybe that's not so good. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. Okay, they exiled 4th Aerolingus in my end step, so I can't flash it back. I'm not a control deck that's relying on that, which I do really like about the construction. Okay, they can give this haste and +1/+1. It does not have trample. There's no activated abilities in the graveyard that I need to worry about right now. Yep, there's that. I'll have to force the Lightning Bolt because I can't let them have the Monarch. Attack, block, exiling my Solitude to make their creature bigger. Yeah, I forgot about the ward when I kept this pile last turn. I can still cast Solitude and block and just fizzle the ward trigger. I can... Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to Mystic Sanctuary now, put Swords to Plowshares on top of my deck, which then I'll draw to the Monarch. Okay, yeah, we're good. Caught the Agatha's Soul Cauldron tapped. like that. And I think, do I want to stock up? I think I do. What else am I doing with that? This Uro is not going to work this game until I deal with Soul Cauldron. So that's a fine pitch to force. Multiple plows or Beanstalk plow. I think plow or a creature is how I lose this game. I can force a creature. This is actually really interesting. All right, I'm going to take the 2 Swords to Plowshares here. With the Monarch rolling, I think I am just okay here with not having another Beanstalk. I'm not going to plow yet because I don't want to lose the Monarch to 1-drop plus equip. Yeah, like so. All right, I'm going to force pitching Uro on this. If they Pyroblast, it costs them the mana that they would take to equip, which is good enough for me. Leyline Binding, what's up? All right, the Battle Cruiser's operational. No attack with Reflection, because they can give this the abilities of Goblin Welder. Oh, I was supposed to plow first, then force. Yeah, that was a little sloppy. All right. Not great by me. So I just won't cast plow then. If they're not attacking, then I can be patient. I can wait out this Soul Cauldron. Bonder. Beseiju. That's good against their deck. All right, no shuffle. I am going to Island Cycle this Lorien Revealed. And I need an untapped land, even though I would like to get Domain. Right, another Tundra. Play that out. And I'll pass. Force of Will. Just cycled away my blue card. Yeah, and we're in kind of a stalemate here, where if they Soul Cauldron, I plow, and if I plow, they Soul Cauldron. And if they attack, I plow, then there's nothing to Soul Cauldron. Goblin Engineer on the stack. How worried about this am I? Once the trigger resolves, Soul Cauldron can do whatever. But I can force the action on the Soul Cauldron with the Beseiju. Because this is a lethal attack if I have nothing, but I have many things. Because they can entomb the Phyrexian Devourer, give Reflection of Kiki Jiki all its abilities, and then exile cards off the top of their deck. Okay, Chaos Defiler. This is now something they're threatening me with off the Soul Cauldron. And this is where I break it open with Beseiju. Alright, destroy the Soul Cauldron. Maybe it's better to Leyline Bind that, then I get to draw a card, and they don't get a land. Alright, so how does this work? Exile target. When a creature card is exiled, put a +1 counter on target creature you control. Oh, as soon as this is exiled, Reflection gets all the abilities, so I actually have to do this now. Because it already has a +1 counter. The Painter deck is really tricky. Okay, so now their Welder gets exiled. Goblin Engineer gets +1/+1. They get a Mountain, which was probably a mistake for me to give them. But we're past the point where they can equip Lava Spur Boots. I can just cast Solitude here. Alright, I'm doing that. I drew a blue card for my Force. They got nothing going on over there. I have another Plow or Binding. Binding draws a card. I think I'm ahead now. I've been ahead, but they were doing some wiggly stuff I had to respect. Now there's not much I need to respect left. Blood Moon's one of them. I don't have basic planes, which means I can't untap and blast that with Leyline Binding. Yeah, if I had a basic planes, I would have just ignored that. You can't float having Domain. That's not a thing. Okay, I'm going to fetch basic planes right now, so I don't have to worry about anything anymore. And I'm probably just going to cycle Xander's Lounge this game. I don't need Domain. I have so much mana. I'd rather have a card. As long as I don't deck myself. If I can deal 24 damage before my deck runs out, that's the real test here. Which is another reason to maybe main deck 1 Endurance, both for respect of the format and what we got going on. Fable, that resolves, unfortunately. I am probably going to bind the Fable itself, not the creature. All right, cycle Xander's Lounge. Do I want to plow this creature? Do I care? I don't think so to both. All right, I'll go to my turn. See what happens. Up the Beanstalk. Now Binding's worth double. I should fetch before I draw all the lands that are in my deck. Gotta pay attention. 22 cards left in my deck. Now it's 21. It's about to be 19. Binding. I won't be playing any more Beanstalks this game. Bind the Fable. And I have another Solitude now. That's exciting. Now I can attack. Yeah, decking myself is the only thing I'm worried about right now. But it is a reasonable concern. Teferi is good. That could bounce one of my Beanstalks and make my spells less dangerous to myself. If their hand is exactly Goblin Welder, I could be in some trouble. Alright, I think... Yeah, I'm just going to Solitude here before this thing gets ward. More Beanstalks. I won't be using those. Probably won't cast that Brainstorm either. It's just about doing damage now. Okay, Teferi does not trigger my Beanstalks. We can start there. Something's happening in response. Oh, the natural Grindstone. Yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah, maybe it'll mill over an Uro. Alright, hit a Binding. Yeah, natural Grindstone's actually a massive problem for me right now. So, how do I deal with that? What's even left in my deck? I've used my Boseiju. Binding, there is 1, 2, 3 accounted for. And if I find Binding... Oh, Murktide. There's a Murktide in here somewhere. That's my win con. Alright, I'm gonna bounce Grindstone. And as much as I don't like this... Let me check my Exile. Oh, both my Murktides are still in there. I haven't used one yet this game. I'm thinking last game. Okay. Ponder. There's a Merc. Alright, Murktide Regent to my hand. Attack with my creatures. Murktide down to 9 cards in hand. This is just full size. And I'll play this land because I'm going to go to clean up and discard a ton of cards anyway. Yeah, the Grindstone fair and square is now my biggest fear in life. Okay, they grind me to 6, I draw to 5. I can play this other Murktide to grow the first Murktide. Ah, shit. Do I have any forces left? That's a problem. 1, 2. There's 2 forces still in my deck of 8 cards. If I Brainstorm, there's 7 cards left. If I force this, there's 5 cards left. But I'm attacking for lethal. Alright, I have to shoot my shot here. Brainstorm. Come on, deck. Alright, put back land and Uro. Fetch and fail to find. Yeah, there's the 2 forces. Okay. And Brainstorm again. Come on, deck. It's like 50-50 here. Alright, we got one. Put back Plow and Ponder. Or Ponder and Plow. Ponder and Plow. And then force this. I go to 4 cards in my deck. And then I kill them with Murktide Regent. If they have a land in their hand, I'm in trouble, actually. Like, if they can activate Grindstone right now. Oh, no. Alright, they can grind me. So I can't play Murktide, actually. I have 1 card left in my deck. Shit. That was awful. Okay. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep. I have decked myself. Maybe I just don't play the second Beanstalk. This is the only way I lose this game, and it happened. Yeah, there's no way out of this. I have no haste. I can't remove my own Beanstalks. Alright, yeah, GG. They found the line. Just using Grindstone, I forgot to account for that, so that was actually a bleed on me. If I recognized that earlier, I could have played around it better. Right, Hydroblast, Wrath, Null Rod, Disruptor, Flute all come in. Force of Negation's bad. Force of Will is mediocre. Uro's medium. Lauren Revealed can help break me out of Blood Moon, which we now know they have. Teferi's pretty bad. I'm not going to board out a Beanstalk, because that is the most important thing I have going on. I just need to manage it better. Supreme Verdict's not very good against them. Okay. Here we go. Love this hand. Keep. I do have to decide if they jam turn 1 Blood Moon, would I rather have Island or Plains in play? And I think it's Island. So I'm going to lead on Misty Rainforest. Though if I plow something turn 1, I would rather do it off of a basic. I think it's more likely they play a creature turn 1 than a Blood Moon. Or Flooded Strand can get either one. What am I even talking about? Alright, cool. We got through it. I could get the Hedge Maze here. I'm not gonna. Okay. Now I have access to Plains Tropical Island. Plains Trop Beanstalk. Basic Island doesn't cast Beanstalk, and I don't have a forest. That one's pretty good. Arena of Glory, awesome. Sweet technology. Lava Spur Boots, the double haste. They can attack before the turn they come into play. I am going to Null Rod here. Start making things not options. Yeah, got him. Great Furnace doesn't work. Who's the Blood Moon now? I'm not going to fetch. I don't know if I need a basic or not. Volcanic Island. Fresh Beanstalk. I could just Lingus and get to work, but why would I do that? Magus of the Moon. All right. I'm going to fetch for an island and let that resolve. I could even plow this and not be worried about Leyline Binding. Leyline Binding costs 3 right now. Yeah, Leyline Binding can get more things. I will plow this. Okay, big Lingus or Ponder. We love a Ponder. Stock up Force of Will. Stock up would find Force Blue card guaranteed here, so I will take it. Force of Will. Do I want Tundra? That takes away my blue card. I'll take Brainstorm and Force of Will off of this. And pass. Magus of the Moon. Resolves. Leyline Binding. I'll draw 2 cards here. I want to hit my land drop, which is different than when I cast the Plow earlier. Okay, sweet. We're loaded up. Now my 4th Aerolingus, if I tap out for it, also draws 2 cards off Beanstalks. Disruptor Flute. Alright, I'm going to fetch in response for Savannah. Yeah, I think it is Savannah here. And that resolves. They could just make 4th Aerolingus cost more, or make Force of Will cost more. I don't know. They could mildly inconvenience me in a variety of ways here, but there's not a single activated ability I care about. I boarded out Teferi. Alright, Solitude is the card they named. Pretty good call. Alright, Lingus. A big ol' Lingus. The best kind. And unlike the 2/2, 6 damage does a lot. Alright, I hit a land. That was pretty important. Right, attack. I'm the Monarch. Land for turn. Entombed Uro. Free money. I'll take that. Then I draw, then I have to discard some cards. It's going to be Beanstalk for sure, and probably this Stock Up. Yeah, alright. Beanstalk and Stock Up are gone. 32 cards in my deck. I think that's enough. They don't have the Grindstone to cheese me out this time. Okay, they've tapped out. Game 3. Endurance might be worth considering. I noticed it in Game 2 after I'd already clicked Submit. Endurance could buy you a turn if you get grinded out. It could avoid me decking myself, and they've shown me Agatha Soul Cauldron and various Goblin Welders. I think this card should be in. I think Uro can go, because we've seen Graveyard Hate and Pyroblast, where Endurance doesn't care about either of those. Probably still want 1 in there, because I gotta win somehow. Cutting a Stock Up doesn't feel right, but I'm kind of eyeballing it. Murktide doesn't feel right. It's probably just Force of Will. Them being a Blood Moon deck makes Force of Will more appealing than if they were just a Painter deck. But unless they turn 1 the Blood Moon, I don't mind that much. There's still up to 15 cards in my deck that trigger Beanstalk. I think that's enough. Yeah, I think 1 Force of Will is okay here. That's what I'm going with. No early interaction, access to both basics, and a Beanstalk. I'm going to keep. This is that don't turn 1 Blood Moon me hand. We've seen Blood and Magus of the Moon, and we've seen City of Traders, which you don't put in your deck until you've maxed out of Ancient Tombs, and we've seen Simian Spirit Guide. Well, this is definitely Stompy. Uh-oh, Simian Spirit Guide. Just 2 mana. Alright, we'll take it. This is a spot where Endurance could be useful if they go for something super aggressive. Grindstone. Alright, they're setting it up. Swords of Plowshares? Leyline Binding. That's kind of like Swords of Plowshares, except not at all. I'm going to get basic Island and cast Ponder. I will mitigate against Blood Moon wherever I can. Alright, Beseiju and Plow. These are 2 of the better cards that I play in my deck. I'll take them both. Neither matters if I get Blood Mooned. That right now. But they'd have to come up with 2 mana, and they just used the Spirit Guide last turn. Well, there's 2 mana. Phyrexian Dragon Engine. Okay. That is not the one I was worried about. It is a 2/2 double strike. It is worthy of some respect, but not that much. Okay, basic Plains. Let's just make Blood Moon not part of this game. And do I want to plow Engineer or Dragon Engine? I want to deal with something, and I want to do it now. Right, I'm going to go after Dragon Engine because Endurance can mitigate the Engineer at least temporarily. And another turn, another draw step, another land drop is all I ever want with this deck. Soul Cauldron is here. Mountain Deletes their City of Traders. Love that for me. It could go for the second Goblin Engineer and swing for the fences. Painter. All right. There's Painter. Soul Cauldron only gives the activated abilities of creatures exiled with it, not artifacts. So they can't put Grindstone under the Soul Cauldron. At least not effectively. It is legal that you could do that. It just doesn't do anything. I think here I'm going to pass with Beseiju up. I could Brainstorm, but I kind of like Endurance green card and Beseiju available. I guess I don't lose those if I Brainstorm, though. I can Leyline Binding here for 2 mana. Is that true? No, it's not. I can do it for... Yeah, I can get the fella, the Grixis land. But then I can't Beseiju in the future. It all comes with risks. Alright, I'm going to Brainstorm now, which probably means I should have done it last turn. There's the Xander's Lounge. Murktide Region is a long way off. So is... Or is Murktide Region worse than these lands? I could put back Xander's Lounge, Flooded Strand. Yeah, okay, that's definitely better. I'm going to fetch and hope they don't have a bunch of Spirit Guides. That's how I die there. But I still have the Endurance, so that's fine. Volcanic Island, that does help my domain, but I can fetch the Xander's Lounge. That's fine. Okay. Now I have full domain. I don't have an extra green card for Endurance right now. I'm gonna pass. Stay calm, stay chill. They have Soul Cauldron and Engineer that can both try to do stuff in the end step. Exiling Brainstorm I don't care about. They did paint it blue, which means Pyroblast interacts with everything. I would like to cast this Endurance right now, but I think I lose if I do. Alright. Yeah, now they have 4 mana, which is enough to flip Soul Cauldron into Grindstone and grind me. Okay, end of turn. This is where I make my move. Xander's Lounge. Leyline Binding. Okay, I'm going to target Goblin Engineer and force the issue here. If they have Pyroblast, blasting Leyline gets them Goblin back and they can entomb something fresh. They're exiling my Ponder in response, which means they're going to weld Soul Cauldron into Grindstone, which means I'm going to Beseiju Painter before it comes in. Bang. Okay. So you get a land, you get a Grindstone, you lose Goblin Engineer and Soul Cauldron and Painter. Pretty good exchange for me. Though now they could start the slow grind, which as we've seen is one of my greatest weaknesses. Okay, now I can cast Endurance. Can I cast Endurance and Murktide? Yes, but I don't want to. Okay, I'm gonna pass and let them slow grind me if they want to. Because right now, with 41 cards in my deck, if they're just putting Uros and shit into my graveyard, deal. They're making my Murktide bigger. This is very different than when there's 8 cards in my deck. They hit Beanstalk, Brainstorm. That's fine. Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Okay. That does not do any Painter stuff. Blue Blast. That counters Red Blast. Okay, I'm gonna Brainstorm and try to get a big Murktide going. What's this triple red shit? Okay, they're grinding me in response. Right, they did double hit. Oh, nice. Wrath of the Skies gives me fresh life in this world. This also, hitting this Beanstalk also means I can play a Beanstalk this turn, but not if I want to hold up Blue Blast for their Red Blast, which I do. Okay, I'm going to put back Ponder and Beanstalk. How important is this Murktide? Pretty important. Yeah, alright. Ponder, Beanstalk are back. Slam Murktide Regent. It's a little bit bigger than their grinding made this 1 point bigger. It's not a huge deal. It's not nothing either. I did eat a bunch of lands with Murktide because if I target myself with Endurance at any point, I want good spells to go back into my deck, not lands. I want the second time through my deck to be really powerful. Alright, exiling Leyline Binding. You did it. I had a plan for this moment. And they were playing on 1 card, so if they have double Pyroblast here, they just drew the other one. And I have to be okay with that happening. I did what I could to play around it. Top of my deck right now is Beanstalk because they haven't ground me. Right, Beanstalk, and there's a Ponder under it if they don't grind me first. Right, Ponder. I'm looking for the second white for this Wrath of the Skies to kill all their permanents. Okay, Grindstoning now. This was just RNG Grindstone. It did hit my other Pyroblast. Ooh, another Murktide's pretty nice. I'm gonna bank the Savannah, though. That both casts Endurance and Wrath of the Skies. That was the perfect land to find. I could Endurance myself right now and have Murktide hit a lot harder, but as we know, they have a combo that decks me, and they have a combo that works out of their own graveyard. This Endurance is on defense mode. They actually die if they Painter me, which is really funny, because they mill my whole deck, and then I Endurance it back, and there's at least 15 spells in my deck, I think. And then Murktide gets them on the one turn where I'm alive. All right, something's happening in my upkeep, grinding the other Murktide away. Murktide, Mystic Sanctuary, drawing Wild. I like a Force of Will. Attack with Murktide. I could Wrath for 1 and kill the Grindstone, but I kind of like what's going on with the Grindstone. I'm not going to play the other Beanstalk, though. I will just calm down here a little bit. Mystic Sanctuary is in exile. There's currently 4 spells in my graveyard. If I Endurance myself, Murktide becomes 9/9. And exiling one of them in response to Endurance doesn't change it, because Murktide still gets that boost. Uro, well, I won't be playing that. Murktide, put them into what they don't know is lethal damage. And now I have force backup for my Endurance. As the clocks tick down, Grindstone, 20 cards left in my deck. They milled another spell. Murktide's 10/10 now. Exiling Misty Rainforest. Okay, I can just go for it here. I think I should. They've got 3 cards in hand, 2 cards in hand. Oh, something's happening. Oh yeah, if they're casting Simian Spirit Guides, it's Jover. 1 card in hand, it doesn't matter what it is because I can force it. End step, Endurance, target me. Murktide becomes 10/10. Red in the pool. That is the best card they could have, but I'm ready. Now Murktide's 11/11. They're grindstoning me. Now Murktide's 12/12. Target me. Triggers on the stack. Concession on the stack. Okay. Accidentally decked myself game 1 because I forgot to account for Grindstone and then won the other games. Again, this is another matchup where just a massive wall of white removal is a huge problem for them. As long as you play correctly. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw for round 4. Gonna keep Island Ponder, Force of Will, Beanstalk. No white removal, but as we've discussed, my deck's full of it. Saga. Saga goes a little scary. Glad my Besaju's here to help. I don't think there's a Saga deck that I need to play on basics around. I guess, like, we just played against one. But still, I'm going to ignore it. Ponder. It's more likely this is not a deck where I need basic lands against than it is. And if they waste me here, then their Saga doesn't do anything. That's a deal. All right, white removal achieved. I don't think I need another Uro. I kind of do want a 3rd land. Okay, here we go. My plan here is to cast Beanstalk next turn and then force and bind my way through whatever else is happening. Ancient Tomb. Okay, we still don't have a lot of information about what they're doing. This could be Mystic Forge combo, could be Painter, could be so many things. I am going to fetch my Tropical Island here and cast up the Beanstalk and accept what comes my way from these construct tokens right now, and then work my way through them. I have Binding and Besaju. I can kill 2 construct tokens if my life total holds up along the way. I could also jam a Murktide. I'm not that far away from that. That might be bigger than what they're doing. Are we going to see a Lava Spur Boots or a Manifold Key or a Mox Opal? What do we got over there? Lava Spur Boots. They're going for the full kicking. No pun intended. Oh, Yavimaya. Interesting. Oh, is this just lands and they had a Saga Tomb start? Sure. All right. I was ready to accept this damage. Wow, Swords of Plowshares is a pretty good draw. Okay, I think my plan here is to fetch Xander's Lounge and then draw a card while I deal with the construct. Okay, they haven't cast a spell yet. It's turn 4. That's so cool. Yeah, this definitely lands. Wasteland's pretty good. Mox Diamond makes their squad bigger. Discarded Sejiri Step. Oh, is this green-white depths? That might be what's going on. I am going to fetch in response to this Pithing Needle. This might just name Beseiju, I don't know. Xander's Lounge comes in. Do they have the read that Beseiju's in my deck? Oh, they might name Wasteland if they're trying to set up Merit Lage. Flooded Strand. The sniper rifle got me. Okay, Leyline Binding. I could Swords to Plowshares here, but that doesn't draw a card. And Wasteland might make Leyline Binding uncastable in the near future. Force of Will. I'm going to take 7 power off the board right now. Target this construct. Pay the ward. Take 4 instead of lethal. If they had a Beseiju there in response to the trigger, that would have killed me. All right, take me off white with the Wasteland. Disruptor Flute. I think I'm going to force this, pitching Force. Because this game just got super condensed, and whatever they would name with that, I'm not interested in finding out. And I don't have white mana right now. They did a good job taking me off that. The Flooded Strand, the Shame Flooded Strand in my hand. I could play a 5/5 Murktide, which does not beat their construct because of Lava Spur Boots. Oh, they have Yavimaya. Interesting. All right, so the Flooded Strand is not that shameful. I don't have white, but I can play Uro here. I can also play... I think I should just Beseiju their something or other. I'm going to pass and let them decide what I'm going to Beseiju. Because I could just Beseiju Needle, fetch Tundra, plow the construct. If I'm going to do that, it has to happen now. I think I like that. Just having access to the colors my deck is meant to play. Pretty serious. They got a basic forest. Fetch. I think I want to get a plains here. Just make sure I don't get cooked by Life from the Loam or Wasteland from hand. And now I'm going to jam a Murktide and try to hit them 2 or 3 times with it. Expedition map is okay. Mapping. Are they on Wasteland? Are they on Stage? Saga? Right, they can give each construct haste. Nice. All right. The blue. 6/6 Murktide that draws a card. Did not draw a land. Maze of Ith. Annoying. Basically no plan for that. Supreme Verdict. Ponder. Another Beanstalk, Mystic Sanctuary. Another Beanstalk does not help me here. So their construct will be 3/3, 4/4, tutor 5/5, equip 6 power. So I actually do need either removal up or a bigger Murktide. I guess I'm going to take the Brainstorm here and cast it for velocity. Funny thing about this combat is if I attack, they just don't Maze of Ith, I lose. So I'm not even going to cheeky push into the Maze of Ith. Okay, oh, Leyline Binding actually works here. Put back Beanstalk and Verdict, and then play Mystic Sanctuary and pass. All right, I've got some action. I'm not going to attack myself to lethal with Murktide Regent. 3/3, 4/4, 5/5. All right, Grafdigger's Cage. They might just be out of stuff to tutor. I think Plow is better than Binding here, because this becomes 4/4, then Murktide's bigger, even if they do want to equip it. Oh, shit. All right, well, it's still a trade. Do they want to go empty board here? They don't. All right, great, perfect. I would have been okay with that trade, which is why they didn't make it. And now I can double up this Murktide. Blue, exile 3, which buffs the first one and draws a card. Now I got a 9/9. And I actually am going to attack because I have the Leyline Binding, which, okay, last turn if I had attacked, I lose. But now if I attack and they get cheeky with Maze of Ith, then I don't lose. I don't know if I can actually beat like 3 Maze of Iths though, if they start getting more or copying them or anything. I'm not even sure if my deck's capable of doing that. Beanstalk, Hedge Maze, I'll take it. Stock up, sure. I'm going to attack with both because I have the removal here. And if they want to save the most damage, then they leave back the one that blocks them anyway. I don't even have to think about removal. Okay. We're here. We did it. They identified the spot. Okay. I lose to Boseiju. All right. Binding. Draw 2 cards. Please don't Boseiju me. Target construct. I've paid the ward. Moment of truth. We did it. Okay. They're now at 7. Maybe I'm supposed to be forcing Once Upon a Times, like what spells are even left for them to play. I don't have a means of getting spells into my graveyard or removing them once they're there. Uro can eat spells. All right, I will put this Leyline Binding in my hand. Play a land. Mystic Sanctuary would be worth +1, but it's in play already. I will attack them to 1. They have to leave the 9/9 back, or they lose. Uro doesn't help much here. Gaining life isn't bad, though. All right. Green, blue, colorless. Okay, I'm at 7. That is a future potential way to buff a Murktide. It's also a future additional attacker. If they come up with a Maze of Ith this turn, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I guess draw a Solitude at some point is the answer. All right, Construct, main phase. They could try to give it haste. I have a 9/9 to block it. Okay, I can also kill it if I need to. Mox Diamond, 1 card left in hand. That's a 7/6. Still smaller than 9/9 by my count. Okay, sweet. Nice. All right, so this actually, I guess this is just lands. What was confusing about that? I guess the Sejiri step threw me for a loop earlier that they might be something else, but yeah, this is just lands. Okay, Endurance, Disruptor Flute, Surgical, Wrath of the Skies. I don't think I want Null Rod, even though they do have some artifacts to their name, but that's what Wrath of the Skies is for. Force of Negation is actually an upgrade over Force of Will, because Life from the Loam is a card I need to counter. Once again, fewer Beanstalk triggers, but also once again, a matchup where Force of Will is not that high impact. Teferi is actually pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to be Supreme Verdicting. I can shave some plows. I have all these Solitudes and Sweepers and stuff. And I don't love plowing Merit Lage. No offense, Merit Lage, it's a me thing. And if they have Bajuka Bog, Grafdigger's Cage, Maze of Ith, yeah, -1 Uro. I'm replacing that. I think one of the Uros in the main deck should just be Endurance. I've been cutting one Uro for Endurance most of the time. And Endurance respects the metagame a little more. Alright, I'm going to keep. Hand's a little weak to Wasteland, but I can Disruptor Flute naming Wasteland. 6-card hand from the opponent. Dark Depths. Okay. Interesting start. I'm going to basic Island Ponder here. No Wastelands, please. Just show me 3 fetches. Come on, Ponder. Alright. Any order shuffle. That was 3 things that were not lands. And we found a land. Once Upon a Time, after playing Yavimaya. Playing around Days, I guess. Maze of Ith. Malevolent Rumble, sweet. Mox Diamond, Urza Saga, can't take Crop Rotation, won't take Sejiri Step. It's either Diamond or Saga. It's probably Saga. Oh, they did take the Diamond. Alright. That's the strat we're on, it seems. Discarding Maze of Ith. And a devastating Life from the Loam coming my way. Oh, yeah. Nope. Not ready for that. That was Sejiri Step, Urza Saga, Maze of Ith into the hand. I think I'm just going to flute Urza Saga. I could also flute naming Loam. Loam that costs 5 is a lot worse than Loam that costs less than that. And I'm going to stop in my opponent's draw step and just see what happens with the Loam. And if they dredge it, I might make it worse. Okay. I am going to Disruptor Flute naming Life from the Loam. They did dredge it. They did hit Thespian Stage and another Saga. Life from the Loam. This means Wastelands are on. This also means that Saga in their hand is on. But I can wade through that sort of thing. Ooh, okay. Now I kind of wish I hadn't done that. I can extract Thespian Stage from their deck in the draw step, and then plan my whole life around that. Draw step, Surgical Extraction targeting Thespian Stage. Let's see 3 of them in the hand. I know 3 of the cards in their hand. The other three are all Thespian stages. I'm calling it now. Ooh, okay. Are they crop rotating for Bajuka Ball? Or they're going to get a stage. All right, yeah, that makes sense. Yep, they're going to get a stage, so I can't take the rest of them. All right, 2 Loams and Rumble are their hand. Let's look at this sideboard. Are there any chokes I have to worry about? No chokes. 1 Endurance, 3 Force of Vigor. Okay. 1 Ghost Quarter. Okay, they do have that endgame available. Exploration. They just played game 1 without them. All right. Carry on then. Should I find... Okay, yeah. I should actually find... No, it doesn't matter. Shit. All right, never mind. I should have in the draw step bound the Mox Diamond, because they can get to 5 mana to cast Loam here. I wonder if they would give up on the Saga rotation to do that, though. Maze of Ith. Okay, they are passing the turn. All right. I'm just so binding flooded. I just tapped more than I needed to for that. It's fine. I'll take out this Mox Diamond. Making a construct. Uro. Am I interested in this right now? Probably, yeah. All right. I just need to keep the cards flowing here. I'm going to fall behind if I don't catch up to their engine. It's sick, rip. All right, hit a land drop. And I'll pass, and I will have to decide based on what they do here. There's a good chance they just copy Saga. Ooh, should have done it in the draw step. They're a chapter behind where they could be right now. Mox Diamond, discarding Sejiri Step, had to replace that. Ripped another Saga, chill. And there's the Rumble, which hit only Boseiju as cards that they can take, but that Boseiju, I've called it out multiple times, is good against Leyline Binding. Stock up, let's go. All right. Life, fresh life. Force of Negation, Murktide Region up the Beanstalk. I think I want to get Beanstalk running. Flooded Strand, Beanstalk. And I will fetch basic planes just in case. In case of what? I'm already exposed to Wasteland. That was not a good fetch. All right, I drew another Beanstalk. We're closer and closer to Uro every moment. The Solitudes now replace the card I have to pitch for them. And I'm at Hardcast Solitude. Grind mode activated. I guess if they were playing a Saga from hand, they may have intentionally sandbagged the other one, like the sequencing, so they could get more constructs out of them over more time. But generally, copying Saga in your draw step, not your main phase, will do things faster for you. And now they're at 5 mana to Loam. This is Saga, Step, and Depths. Or no, Saga, Step. All right. Those are all in the hand. Saga. I'm looking for Wrath of the Skies all day, every day. Wrath of the Skies ends this game. Uro. Okay, up the Beanstalk. We're just in cantrip mode. Dig it out, find it. Find the goods. I could cast Uro here. I think I like that before they can lock him out. Fetch. I'll get a Tundra, because that's also a tropical island. Green. Green, blue, blue. I'm actually going to leave Surgical in the graveyard because I do have a Mystic Sanctuary, and taking out their Loams is pretty big. All right, I have a 6/6 now. There's a Wrath of the Sky somewhere in my deck. There's 2 Endurances, which makes it hard to deck myself, but not impossible. Believe in me, I'll figure it out. 4 Urza Saga triggers going on the stack, and the upkeep is pretty messed up. Right, grabbing Mox Diamond makes sense with Sejiri Step. Next turn, this Thespian stage turns into something else. So if they want to copy my planes before that goes away, that's then an Urza Saga that will stay in play even through a Wrath. Sageing my Flute, okay. I will get Mystic Sanctuary and target Surgical Extraction, I guess. This is interesting because I can draw this at instant speed. Like if they Wasteland me or something here or make a construct, I can shred all the Loams out of their deck before they get to do anything. Yeah, they should just cast Loam without passing priority, and that's what happened. Step, Saga, Boseiju. Okay. Step, Saga, Boseiju is the 3 cards in hand. Saga. They could also Boseiju my Beanstalk and make me decide if I want to land or that Surgical that I just put on top. Moment of truth. Am I getting the Surgical? I am. Okay, sweet. I'm going to ponder first my own Boseiju. Teferi doesn't do much. Yeah, this is actually pretty mid other than the ponder. Okay, I'm actually going to ponder again before I attack. I'm looking for Wrath of the Skies this turn. Binding Beseiju to Fairy. I'm going to shuffle this. Force of Will. Uro gets to draw a card even if he doesn't do any damage. Hedge Maze comes in. Wrath of the Skies on top. Give it to me. Tundra. I don't want that. They can make so many constructs and they're going to be so big this turn. All right, just taking 6 rather than Mazing Abith. I'm going to set a stop in their draw step. And then I guess I just pass here. I've got Bindings, Plows, and Solitudes to survive the turn. Construct. Or no, they copied Island. Yep, that makes sense. And then make a construct with the other one. Now they have the infinity constructs, even if I find a Wrath. Draw step. There's no way they dredge loam here. Oh wow, they dredge loam. Alright, well, I'll extract your loams, including the one you just drew. And his Beseiju Sajiri step. But we knew that already. Loams are gone. Alright, and here comes the fireworks. 5 5s. 6 6s. Well, this one's just a tutor. Didn't make a construct off that one. Lava Spur Boots. Expedition Map. 7 7s. This is actually interesting because the Beseiju means I can't use Leyline Binding here. And I can. Oh, but then I just tutor a land and cast Solitude. Okay, yeah, this is actually a free roll. Okay. It's a free roll that draws 2 cards. Oh no, because this costs 2. I don't have the thing. Alright. It's not a free roll. It's a cost money roll. Alright, in that case, I'm going to cast a Solitude. I can pitch cast the other Solitude. We know they have Sajiri Step in hand. They can give one of their creatures pro white, but not at instant speed. Binding, Misty. Solitude's a pretty good blocker as well. Another construct. This one can also get haste. Doesn't matter where I pitch here. So if they successfully equip to this one, they're attacking for 12. Or they're I guess it's +1. Yeah, all right. I will pitch the Solitude to the other one, pitching the Leyline Binding that I no longer have faith in because they have Beseiju. They gain roughly 1 trillion mana, or 1 trillion life. But with 2 Endurances in my deck, I'm not worried about getting decked here. I can just loop them. Sajiri Step, throw white, push that damage through. I will block the other one, and they can do that every turn until I find Wrath of the Skies to clear the Lava Spur Boots. Played Beseiju. We're valuing that expedition map. Ponder. Alright, Ponder. Find me that Wrath of the Skies. It's in there somewhere. Shuffle this pile of things that aren't Wrath of the Skies. Flooded Strand. Attack with Uro. It'll land in. Do I actually have a fetchable left? I've lost track. Right, opponent's at 22. They don't seem worried about it. Right, I'm gonna fetch. Okay, right. The Xander's Lounge at minimum was in there. And I have another land I can still fetch. So I will. Let's get these bricks out of the way. The Beseiju's in play, which means Leyline Binding is live. I could bind the Lava Spur Boots right now. Right, binding. And I get to see the draws first. If I find the Wrath of the Skies, I'll just pick a different target. It wasn't that. Bind Lava Spur Boots. Now I think it's Murk time. Blue, blue. I'm exiling cards I don't want to draw again on the next time through my deck, even if this makes Murktide smaller now. 19 cards left in my deck. The Wrath of the Skies is in, right? Before I deck myself looking for it? It is, okay. Another Murktide, or Stock Up could still find it. Stock Up. Endurance, Force of Negation, Brainstorm. Alright, this got dicey quick. I'll take Endurance and Force of... Do I need Force of Negation anymore? I don't think so. Brainstorm and Endurance. The rest of the bottom in any order. And I could play another Murktide here, which draws a bunch of cards. They don't have haste anymore. They can not make a construct in the end step. They can make a hasty Merit Lage, but I have Solitude. Okay. Other Murktide. And I'm going to leave Disruptor Flute in my graveyard here, because that one, the second time around, pretty high impact. Bean, 4th Airlingus. That could win the game next turn on its own. Okay. Go to cleanup, discard, land, Uro. Yeah, they're going to map. This could get Dark Depths and threaten a hasty Merit Lage. All right, they got Beseiju, so they're going to get their thing back. All right, land, Uro. and it might be a plow. That hurts to lose, but I think all these other cards are more important. Okay, so I've got 2 blockers and a Solitude versus 4 constructs. 3 of them could have haste. They failed to find on the tutor. They're out of tutor bullets. Or no, or did they get a Mox Diamond? Oh, they drew Force of Vigor. That's naughty. Well, that's worse than Beseiju in that I can target it with Force of Will. So that's actually kind of a blessing. Yeah, they tutored Mox Diamond, discarded Beseiju. My brain did not process what was happening right away. All right, 13 cards left in my deck. One of them's Wrath of the Skies. One of them's Endurance. I do have to be careful how many cards I exile, because it's not like my deck goes on for infinity. But I'm now in insanely good shape. Florian Revealed. I won't be casting that this game. Okay. I think I want to cast this Binding. Or are they dead? That's an important question. Maze of Ith can save them 8 life. 22. No. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Block. Or block. 14, 20. I could do 20 this turn. That's not enough. Therefore, I'm not doing it. I can blow up the Maze of Ith. Yeah, that's probably what I want to do. All right. Beseiju targeting Maze of Ith. And I have a legend. Count it. They floated mana. Got a forest. Move to combat. They're making the construct, which means I'm going to Leyline Bind and see if I find the Wrath. We're still in my main phase. Yeah, all right. Now you're dead. I guess here I'll exile the Exploration because it mostly doesn't matter. This saves me a mana. Wrath of the Skies. I'm not going to do anything extra into it because everything they have I care about costs 0. Boom. Is this lethal now? 8, 14, 22, or 20. If I Endurance myself, it is lethal. All right. Attack. We got a woof in the chat. Yeah, I built my whole game plan around that. We got the GGs, well played. Those were good games. And yeah, this is the type of Magic I like, where there's one really important card in your deck, and you know that you will eventually see your whole deck, and you can build your whole game plan around it. It being the 10th card from the bottom instead of in the top 15 cards mean this game took a lot longer than it needed to. But that's fine. We got there. We know it's in there somewhere. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive record. Locked. Playing for the bread and butter 4-1. I think this hand is just below my line. I've kept hands like this before and defended them when I kept them. But here, this is why this hand is different than those hands. I do like having Force Blue card. I do like that Brainstorm sees more cards if I get untapped with this land. I do like that I have 2 looks, even if I get Wastelanded to hit my next land drop and continue developing. What I don't like is if this is a matchup where Wasteland matters, then so does Leyline Binding. And getting wasted off this makes Leyline Binding uncastable forever. Well, like, you know, for likely the duration of the game, even if I do spike the white source. Like if these were 2 Swords to Plowshares, maybe the hand is different. Of course, it is extremely tempting though. If I just rip a green source and get to go Beanstalk, Force, Blue card, Full Domain, Bind, that's the nuts. I think I am going to mulligan this though. It's just below the line because of the context of how bad Wasteland is for Leyline Binding, in addition to Wasteland being bad for me. Okay, this one I'll keep, and I'm probably going to put Plains to the bottom, though there's also a case for Murktide or Solitude. Though Solitude can help keep me alive if I find any white card. Murktide is a much later problem for this deck, but it's also a spell. But it's not a spell for a while. But the rest of the cards in my hand make it a pretty good spell. I'm going to bottom Plains. That was actually a really interesting 2 hands to look at. Lots of decisions to make. And things to consider. Polluted Delta. Mystic Sanctuary. I'm going to ponder. More lands and a plow. I will bank my 3rd actual land and then draw the plow and shuffle. Volcanic Island. Probably good news. Unless this is Sneak and Show, then it's terrible news. I'm just going to pass until I have more information to work off of. 2 volcanic islands, no information yet. Okay, it's this deck. It's just Tamer Delver. Cool. That I can live with. Brazen Borrower Exiled is kind of an awkward one. They can get both cards off the questing druid here if they have a land, but it is just kind of an awkward main phase deployment of Brazen Borrower. Though if I'm over here dirtling, that's a fine way to spend mana. Misty Rainforest. Oh, went with the druid itself. Interesting. I would have taken my 2-for-1 here and just banked the Brazen Borrower. Maybe they don't know what I'm representing here. I know my deck is super slow, and any 2-for-1 is worth it, but they don't know that. I'm going to hedge maze for the selection. I don't actually want Lorien Revealed. I'm good on lands, and I'm pretty far away from casting that. They're bobbling my card. Supreme Verdict. Yeah, that's a good one to know about. All right, that was sweet. First time that's come up in the league, and it's in a matchup where it is a banger. All right, do I play around Spell Pierce with this Brainstorm? I guess I do. I am going to cast Brainstorm. Mystic Sanctuary and Tundra get back in the deck, and I'll pass. Very likely to fetch basic planes with this Flooded Strand, just lock my removal color. All right, they're going to the Dome. All right. I missequenced this a little. They're going to gain 1 life that I didn't need to give them, but I am going to plow this thing before they untap with potential soft permission showing. I beat Daze here. Force will cost them 2 cards when they know I'm holding a sweeper. All right, if I lose this game with them at 1, it happened right there. Wasting Hedge Maze. Yep, okay. Wasteland is one of the best tools decks like this have versus Supreme Verdict. Just a itty bitty baby Murktide, barely bigger than factory settings. Oh my god. All right, well, if I can sculpt around Daze, I'm going to. I could just ram my own Murktide here. Yeah, I'm going to fetch Basic Island and just play a bigger Murktide than them. I'm not going to make it as big as it can be, because Swords to Plowshares in my graveyard in a Mystic Sanctuary deck is relevant, and I can't get it out of bolt range. So I'm just going to stop at 6. Honestly, I probably could have stopped at 5. Ponder. Okay. Wasteland Battle. They're keeping me off that brutal 4-drop. Oh, nice. All right. Well, that's a gross one for them to have. I think I can take 4 once to see if I rip a land or Brainstorm into Plow before I spend 2 cards on Solitude here. The main deck Pyroblast getting got by the Delver meta. Ponder. Swords to Plowshares. Enjoyed. I'd rather hit this land drop, though. Yeah, that's tricky. If this was any land other than Xander's Lounge, I would just take the Plow now, flush out the Daze, and then see where we get. Getting to 6 is very different than being at 10 versus a Lightning Bolt strategy. Okay, I think I'm going to hit my land drop this turn and Solitude this Murktide. Pitching the precious Supreme Verdict to do it. If they have Force of Will, that's a force they don't have for Plow next turn. If they waste me again, I have Plow next turn. If they don't do anything, I could start working my way up to this Teferi. Oh yeah, the pass with nothing. We love seeing that out of Delver. And if they pass with nothing, I pass too. I'm not turning on a Daze on turn 7 if I can avoid it. I refuse. Channeler. Chain Lightning. I want to Plow this thing before it gets too much card selection for them. This is why I didn't want to go to 6. Unfortunately, I only have 1 red, or else I could have just sent Chain Lightning back at the Channeler. Okay, this is Solitude, Brainstorm, Fresh Looks. I love this land. I don't love this Force of Will. I'm going to put Force and Solitude back, and then pass. I could jam the stock up, see if they've been holding a Daze, or I could just be patient and resolve all of these spells through Daze. Okay, was my patience rewarded? Or misguided? The top of my deck is Force of Will, so it doesn't matter how I tap this. This is either going to resolve or it's not, and I don't have a second spell anyway. Okay, Treadwater versus the DRC. This is not as good as bouncing a Murktide, but I'll still freaking take it. And now I don't care about Daze ever. And if they bolt a Fairy to finish it off, that's 3 damage that's not going at my face while I'm at 7. Bobble. They clearly just drew that for turn. Bobbling me. Is it an untapped mana source? Because that would be great for my Solitude. Untapped land. Poison, thank you. Bummer. And Force of Will sucks. This card is garbo. I'm going to stock up right now, see if I could find a plow or at least hit my land drop. All of the above. Okay. I have domain. Savannah plus Xander's Lounge is domain. 2 bindings are going into my hand right now. The rest of the stuff to the bottom. I'm going to bind this DRC before they can get a single surveil trigger off it. I can't even properly articulate how nice this 1 extra point of life is right now. Knowing that it would take triple bolt, which they have to do over multiple turns because they only have 2 red, versus double bolt. It's just so relaxing. Another channeler. We've been through 3 of these now. Bolt confirmed. Targeting Teferi. Feels good. Teferi did his job. He got multiple cards off of them. Now there's probably only 3 bolts left in their whole deck, which is relaxing. They can still burn me out, but not very well. Oh, that's huge. All right. Beanstalk on the Stackaroonie. Force blue card spent on that. Pitching Murktide Regent. Dumped a Wasteland. I accept. And I'm going to Leyline Bind to this Dragon's Rage Channeler. As much as I love Ancestral Recall over time, I'll take him to Turok now. They draw pass. Now I have Hardcast Force and Hardcast Solitude online. Ponder, that's not my fight. Shuffle the library. Brainstorm. Wasteland, that actually matters here. All right, I'll float a blue. Okay, now I'm off hard casting my cards. Disappointingly. Beanstalk, all right, we're back. Back in business. Now Force of Will hurts way less. Hey, we're back into hardcast mode. Sweet. Just like in that Painter matchup, the goal was don't get decked. Now my goal is don't get burned out. Brainstorm into Bobble. Bobbling me. There's not a good fetch here. My Hedge Maze and my Xander's Lounge are gone already, and Mystic Sanctuary is not on, so I'm just gonna take it as it comes. Swords to Plowshares, pretty good. Playing Drago versus Delver is what I want to do in life. This is all the decisions I make in life lead to moments like this. Right, they played out their 5th land, now telegraphing Force of Will. Flooded Strand means now I can cast Solitude or Force without getting dazed. Getting dazed on turn 16 is not where I want to be in life. Ponder, send it. Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Yes, please. I'm worried about almost nothing at 10 life. We know we're pretty sure there's only 3 bolts left in their deck. The Chain Lightning is usually the 5th bolt. I don't think builds have 6 these days. Now I have a win con. I'm at 10. This is game 1, so they're not going to price of progress me. Not yet. Brainstorm. I guess I have to worry about decking myself. That's always eventually a concern, and if I start thinking about it now with 24 cards in my deck, it's less likely to happen later. Delver, you got it. Dragon's Rage Channeler. They're betting that I don't have 2 Supreme Verdicts. Good bet. Mystic Sanctuary is the top card in my deck right now. I could just make that. I can plow in the end step. I actually do need a green source for Uro, though. Okay, I'm going to plow Dragon's Rage Channeler and see if we're fighting over that. I hope we do. All right, no fight there. I'll go to my turn with the intent to cast Uro. Ooh, all right, there's nothing to Beseiju in this matchup. I'll just play it. Green, green, blue, blue. Leaving all the Murktide and Mystic Sanctuary fodder where it is. I am not going to play this other Beanstalk. As long as I don't lose to myself, I don't lose. So I'm just not going to do that. Daze flips the Delver. How we know to play around that one. I've been doing it the whole time. But now we know. All right, Delver and Uro wash each other out every turn, except... Or no, Uro washes out Delver. Delver does not wash out Uro. Force of Will in hand. Tag with Uro. Unholy Heat, Brazen Borrower. These are things that might matter a little bit. Opponent's at 21. I've used one of my 2 Murktides. Grip full of Solitudes. I'm just going to go to cleanup here and dump the bonus Beanstalk. Uro I can at least pitch to Force, but this Beanstalk doesn't do anything. I will probably play Solitude this turn. I can take this hit, that's fine. I'll play Solitude in the end step. Start a fight there. Another Delver. Now I have a better target for Solitude. It's like the same thing, except they gain 1 life instead of 3. Okay, that resolves. Take the little one. Tropical Island. I can put that in off Uro attack. Okay, they've had enough. They were probably counting the cards in my deck, looking at their hand and deciding if it was worth playing through anymore, and decided it's not. Endurance, Endurance, Carpet, Carpet, Pyroblast, Hydroblast. I could even entertain a conversation about Wrath of the Skies, though I'm probably not going to end up doing it. I don't need Lingus. Force Negation's terrible. Force of Will's terrible. Beseiju is still a green source in the deck. I guess I'll leave it there for that. Teferi's okay. Murktide's okay. Uro's really good, but once again, I'm side grading it into Endurance. And one more cut. All my white cards are in. Lorien, do I need... Oh, I'm bringing in 2 Carpet of Flowers. Yeah, the Beseiju gets the Carpet of Flowers down. That's really nice. Lorien could keep the cards flowing, but between Beanstalk, Uro, stock up. Alright, I'm going to cut Lorien because I'm bringing in 2 Carpet of Flowers. I am net up mana sources here. Let's go. Love this. Both my basics. Ponders to see cards. All 3 of my colors. I boarded out Lingus, so I don't actually need colored mana for anything other than building out Domain. Bondar. I am gonna get rid of all these cards. I'm looking for white removal at this point. There's some right now. I play a lot of it, but if you don't draw it, if you keep a hand like this and just ponder, whiff, you can just get run over by 3 power creatures. Delver didn't flip. I'm glad for that. Channeler. Speaking of 3 power creatures. Bauble. This is a bunch of looks at flipping Delver, because there's the Surveil trigger that could flip Delver. Oh, that's bold. They prioritize flipping Delver over hitting their land drop next turn. We'll see how that works out. I'm not saying it's a punt. I'm saying it's interesting that they made that decision. I'm pondering before Daze can snip my ponder. All right, here we go. We're back into that spot that I didn't want to be in of haven't actually found a white card yet, or not one that we could cast. And unfortunately, I can't fetch plains here, but I have lands to make. If I'm exposed to Wasteland, this is how it happens, but it's fine. Tropical Island, cast Ponder. Bunch of bricks. Shuffle. Carpet. All right. Carpet's huge, though my opponent did just miss a land drop. Carpet's moderate. They bobble themselves. Get double look at the Delver. So they're trying to thread the needle here of flip Delver and hit a land. All right, so they stacked this way. Delver reveals Ponder, and they get an extra draw. So Ponder plus something else. The Ponder gets the DRC trigger, so this is a ton of looks at the next land. I hope they play some island instead of Wasteland, but I can push through a Wasteland, as long as I find some way to stem the bleeding in the meantime. Okay, they played another island, and they got their own Delirium. 4 cards in the graveyard, and they're all different. Just good deck building. These jerks are in. Another Delver, yep. Might just get run over here. Okay, Tundra, Carpet. Get my little Dark Ritual going. See if this is a fight they want to have. This card is terrifying if you're Delver. If they have Force of Will, it's probably worth it. Yep. Alright, Force. Pitching Delver. Yeah, they had 3 of their 4 Delvers in their opening hand. Ponder. Solitude, Swords to Plowshares. Okay. Okay. Telling me we're in business. Don't shuffle this. Daze is really annoying here, but I can't play around it. Alright, we took some pressure off. Next turn, I could play Beanstalk into Binding or Solitude, draw a card, but I might be at 6 by then. Pyroblast in hand. Nothing I'm doing cares about that. But I'm now dead to Lightning Bolt. Okay. Land Beanstalk. Oh, I could do both. I can Binding and Solitude here by pitching the Teferi. That's big. Okay. They didn't have Daze last turn. I'm not going to play around it now. Fetch for Xander's Lounge. And I'll pass the turn and hope they don't bowl me in the end step. Though, they would need to, so that's probably actually fine. Right, in the upkeep. Leyline Binding. I draw a card. Bind a Delver. And while we're here, pitch Solitude. Delete this Teferi, who I know won't resolve through Pyroblast. Solitude clears this Delver. Okay, I am in burn range. They may have boarded in Price of Progress if they have it. and I'm not pushing back right now. Murktide Region. All right, I'm ready for that. Leyline Binding. That's a relief. Okay, I'm going to Brainstorm first. Carpet is awesome. Get rid of Beseju and one of these lands. I'm going to see if Carpet resolves first. And then play my land. I'm just dead to Price of Progress. I'm not going to play around it. Yes, make white. Fetch Hedge Maze. Or is Mystic Sanctuary something I want here? Could still Ponder this turn. Yeah, I think I actually want Mystic Sanctuary. Target Ponder. If I can find a Blue Blast, that takes a lot of pressure off right now. Leyline Binding. Find that Murktide. White Floating, Ponder. More Beanstalks. I'm not ready for those, but they're really good. I think I'm going to roll the dice on these Beanstalks. All right, don't shuffle. I can't cast these spells. I'm dead to Price of Progress anyway. If I could kick my entire engine into overdrive right now, I think that gives me the best chance to win the game long term. I'm going to try not to fetch or force myself down to 3, at least make them have 2 bolts. This is a step in the right direction. Didn't shuffle, terrifying. Brainstorm. All right, now I don't know about this Pyroblast anymore. And we are witnessing the difference between Dimir decks and Izzet decks right now. Because versus Dimir Tempo, I would be worried about basically nothing right now. But the card Lightning Bolt existing is causing me deep psychological trauma at this moment. All right, I'm going to cast Stock Up. If they have that Pyroblast, let's see it. If not, I'm going to reload. Pyroblast will find a target eventually. And if one of the cards in their hand is Pyroblast, it means that card is not Lightning Bolt. Okay, deal. Deal, deal, deal. Unfortunately, Solitude is exile another creature. There is no just like blast this out for a surprise 3 life. Targeting itself. Probably good for design, but bad for me in this particular moment. Okay. Dead anyway to Price of Progress, so I'm just going to hit my land drop. If they Price of Progress or Lightning Bolt, I can play Solitude as Ancestral Recall. I don't have triple white to play Solitude, then plow it. Not on their turn. I can do it on my turn. Red Blast, okay. This, I think I'm actually just going to run this out. The Lifelink will stack up over time, and Ancestral Recall is a hell of a card. And being able to plow this in play is some nice passive value. All right, target nothing with that. Mostly because I can't. And I'm not a cheater. Brainstorm. Uro, let's go. All right, that's the guy. Put back Delta Brainstorm. Play Beseju. Play Uro. Leaving up red-white for the 2 spells I have. I draw Brainstorm, I put in Flooded Strand. I can fetch away Polluted Delta. Okay, we made big strides this turn. Maybe I'm supposed to just fire that Solitude out last turn and pull ahead, use my Beanstalks. All right, don't pop me, bro. I'm actually going to rev this because I cannot beat Price of Progress, but I can stop them from finding it. And I'm not worried about Murktide Region or Delver Secrets, which are the other blue cards they play. Wow, that was worth a Force of Will. All right, here we go. They're in YOLO Swaggins mode right now. And I still have Brainstorm. If they do come up with Price of Progress, I have a Miracle Swing to hit one of my 2 blue blasts in my deck. Oh yeah, I cut all my forces. Earlier I said take 1 from a force. Didn't need to think about that. I thought I left 1 in, but clearly I did not. Okay, moment of truth. It's Price of Progress or bust. Please bust. Drop. They've played around days. We got to my turn. Oh, I forgot to fetch. I did not want this Polluted Delta. All right, I got so excited it was my turn that I forgot what I was doing. Okay, attack. I guess I technically played around Double Bolt by waiting, but that was not on purpose. Okay, I'm going to make blue here. It's use it or lose it, and I'm going to cast this Brainstorm anyway. And Uro's in my graveyard. Ooh, a bunch of baloney. I'll put these back, and then fetch that basic plains, and then play Uro. I'm exiling the cards I won't need if I target myself with Endurance to go through my deck again. That's been a theme throughout this league. Pyroblasting Uro. It is correct that I cannot refire this right now. I have access to 1 green if I fetch, and no green anywhere else. Sure. All right. Once again, that's a card that was not Price of Progress. Seeking the Beast. Oh no. Revealed Mishra's Bauble, Scalding Tarn. There's the Tarn. There's the Bauble. There's the Druid. Bobbling me, despite having a fetch land. Just trusting the deck. All right, you drew for Bauble. I drew Endurance. That's not bad. All right, I'm going to make green right now and then play Uro. All the cards in my graveyard are good, so I can't really dance around Endurancing myself anymore. I'm not going to put a land in because I want to Brainstorm most of these away. Brainstorm. All right, I'll put back some of these fetch lands. And do I want to Endurance anyone right now? I have the Endurance. There's another one in my deck. I've got the mana. Let's do it. I'll Endurance my opponent here. Play around Unholy Heat, Murktide Region off the top, those sort of things. This attack puts me to 15. I can plow myself to 21. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. I have outstripped Price of Progress. Channeler. Another Channeler. My Hedge Maze is still on the deck. I'm going to fetch it here. I could also Ancestral Recall with Leyline Binding. Stock up. Let's go. That's a good place to put Carpet Mana. I'll make blue. Stonks. Wowie. Hydroblast, Pyroblast, or Solitude, Hydroblast. I think it's Solitude, Hydroblast. What could go wrong if I take those 2 cards? I'll play my land, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Solitude. Draw a Gajillion. Exile Questing Druid. Ooh, something's happening. Daze. All right. That grows the Questing Druid and gives them 2 Surveils. Gotta do what you gotta do. Dumped a Murktide. Endurance kicking in. I think I will pay for this. I'm going to exile their 4/4 and attack with everything else. I will put in the Savannah. My life total is in the stratosphere at this point, and I don't know how I lose this game. Uro drew the other Pyroblast, or other Hydroblast. Seek the Beast. I'll let them Surveil, and then I'll counter this. Having 2 of these, I like just nipping this in the bud. Counter target red spell. And we got the GGs in the chat. They've tapped out. Nice. A 4-1 record, living up to exactly what I said in the deck, where this deck is built in a way that chews up and spits out anyone trying to play a few turns of Magic, and is pretty bad against anyone who's not. We lost round 1 to Oops All Spells, and then had 4 consecutive rounds where it may have taken a long time, but it wasn't always close. Building those plans to play to a single one of in your deck because you know you're going to draw the whole deck, confidently drawing your whole deck, knowing that Endurance is in there somewhere. These play patterns are lovely. I would main deck an Endurance. I don't think we need 3 Uros. I would just turn one of them into an Endurance, then that also opens up a sideboard slot, which I would probably also use for the turbo combo decks. Like, we don't even have a Consign to Memory, a Deafening Silence, like nothing of the sort in here. There's definitely room to push against those decks a little more because the main deck is so good against creature decks anyway. But if you don't have Oops All Spells players in your metagame, or you just bet against it, it gets 5% of the meta. Maybe you just won't play against it in a tournament. Maybe you won't play against it in a league, and the other 95% of the decks you're built for. I'm a little more sympathetic to that way of deck building in typical metagames. Like, I'm not going to dedicate cards to High Tide combo, you know, because it's like so far off the metagame. You don't have to think of everything. But the best deck in the format, also being a graveyard combo deck, means that being completely disrespectful of Oops is also disrespectful of the best deck, which is real messy. Yeah, I'd play Endurance in the main and add another graveyard or combo hate piece of your choosing to the board. But otherwise, beautiful, immaculate play patterns, Beanstalk gaming at its finest. I love drawing my deck. I love how one of my only losses in this match was to myself because I decked myself. That's just good magic. Spunky, thanks for sharing this. Awesome deck. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.